Hello and welcome to Junior Achievement of South Dakota's session-by-session training videos for JAR City. My name is Janice, and today I will be helping you prepare for session number 1 entitled The Business Zone. The items that you will need for today's training session are JAR City Guidebook, your JA banner, the table tents, the vocabulary words, the zone map, which is illustrated behind me, the junior journals, the rulers, the pop-up buildings, and the student magnet, take-home magnets. For today's session, you will begin by sharing with the students an introduction, a little about yourself, who you are, the business that you work for, and the reason that it's important for you to volunteer in a JA classroom. After you do that brief introduction of yourself, you will take the students on a little discussion of how their city or town works. Keep in mind that every city and town is a little bit different depending on its size of where you're teaching. So some things that you might have in a larger city might not be in a smaller town. But again, the same concepts of how their city works and who helps run it, those are the concepts you'll be sharing with the students today. When you first arrive in the classroom, you will hand out a table tent or name tent to each of the students, and you will ask them to write their name as illustrated on the example here, and then ask them to fold it in half so you can see their name from either the front of the room, back of the room, as you are walking around during each of the sessions. As a reminder, each of our JA sessions are laid out in the same three-part format. You have an introduction, you have the activity, followed by the summary review. In today's session, you are going to be talking to the students about the different businesses that they see in their town or their city. A really fun thing to do is to highlight what some of those businesses are and what function they provide or purpose they provide to your town or city. Then you will ask them, as you talk about your city, who's the person that helps plan where businesses go and how do they know which area of the city they should be put into. So using the illustration behind me, the floor map, and also as in your guidebook, you will see that there are 5 different zones that the students will be introduced to. They are the multi-purpose zone, the residential zone, agriculture zone, business zone, and the industrial zone. When you take the first letter of each of those zones and put them together, it spells Mr. Abbey. And this will be a great way for you to help the students learn the different zones that are part of our city, and then they can use that acronym as they go out the rest of their sessions, and Mr. Abbey will play a part in each of those. For today's activity, the students will have the opportunity to actually design and create their own city as a class. We'll begin by having this floor map hung up in an area where all the students can see it, but as they're working on their individual buildings, you'll want to move this map to a floor space or to a large table where it can be laid flat, because the students will then be coming up with their businesses and placing them in the city zones as they feel are the right places for them. Your package of pop-up buildings contains many different buildings. You will have, businesses, you will have government buildings, you have homes, you have some that are unnamed, so the students have the opportunity to be creative and think of a building or a business that they can actually come up with their own creativity and decide the name of that building. Distributing each of these, a building to each student, They will then have the instructions to name their business and write it on the line here, and to color the business, color in their pop-up business. Now, if time is not working in your favor and you are short on time, you may tell the students to at least name it, and then they can come back and color it at a different time, or even take that building home and color it at home. Tell the students that it's important not to make it a building yet, to keep it flat as they color it and name it. And once they are all done, then help the students understand and give an example of how to put the building together. So in this example, still flat, just tell the students to push together and kind of push down the bottom. Then each of the sides go in, followed by the top, and just put the little flap inside, and that creates the building for the students. Again, as the students are working on naming and coloring their buildings, you will then have this map on a floor or on a big table where you will ask the students to gather around, and each of them has the opportunity to place their building in the zone that they feel is the right place. This is a great group discussion. Sometimes students may have a specific reason that they put it in one zone versus another. So that is something to keep in mind, and to actually ask, well, why did you put it in that specific zone? It's a great classroom discussion. Then you'll ask the students to go back to their desks, and you will hand out the journals. And in today's journal activity, on page 2, you will see that there is a map, and they get to be a city planner. You will also be distributing one of the rulers to each student. By looking at what is already on the map, you will notice that the one zone that is missing is the multi-purpose zone, the purple zone. So they have the opportunity as the city planner to go ahead and decide how big that zone is going to be, and then by using their rulers they can measure that zone and put the measurements as illustrated in the other examples. This is also, the rulers is a great way to help the students in understanding why it's important, like when we are maybe decorating something at home. Why would we measure our rooms for how much carpet we would need? Or why do we have to measure the windows? The importance of having good measurements so everything fits properly. At the end of your time in the classroom, you will want to leave a few minutes to do the summary review. Again, going back and ensuring that the students understand the key vocabulary words that are in this green section or in the green margin on the various pages. I like to just recap those vocab words and any of the main key topics that we talked about. You will also want to share with the students when you will be back for your next visit. Before you get to session number 5, you will want to ask your teacher for a classroom roster, which will help you for making the certificate of achievements, which are handed out in session 5. That is an overview of session 1. Have a great time in the classroom.